Okay. Moving back. Yeah, we're recording. Okay, moving back. This is the flexion withdrawal. This is part of last Monday's. And again, this is my rendition of a quad, and here's a hamstring. And what's happening here is this person stepping on a tack. Okay, that's what you see. That's supposed to be a tack, or a pin, or something like that. Something sharp that the person's stepping on. Let's go ahead and reorient since we're here. What's this part called again? Does anybody remember? Yeah, that's your dorsal root ganglia. And that means this is dorsal root ganglia, the part of the gray matter up here in the spinal cord that's actually touching the outside. What's the name of that called? Yeah, that's your dorsal gray horn. Good. And that means this is the ventral gray horn down here on the opposite side. Ventral gray horn is real easy to see. Posterior median sulcus, anterior median fissure. Okay, everybody good with that? All right, and then here's your central canal, your spinal canal. Spinal canal right down the spine. Now, this is a person's leg, and they're stepping on a tack. Okay, if the tack, what kind of sensation do you think the tack is going to pick up? Hey, yeah. So there's a special kind of receptor. It's called a nociceptor. Nociceptor. Okay, it's a nociceptor, and that nociceptor is specific for pain response. We talked previously that the stretch reflex or the myotatic reflex is a type 1A fiber, and the GTO, autogenic inverse myotatic reflex, is a type 1B fiber. Well, this is a nociceptor. That's what it's called. It's specific for pain receptor. So you have the dendrites coming here, hooked up to the nociceptor, and that's going to come in. And as always, we have our pseudo-unipolar neuron cell body sitting there in the dorsal root ganglia. Okay, and that comes in. First, we're just going to talk about the flexion withdrawal, and again, it bifurcates. I'll stay consistent with the drawings that I had previously. Try to. I have my interneuron here, an interneuron here, okay, and that's going to connect with the alpha motor neuron. And I think before I put the quadriceps alpha motor neuron here, and the hamstrings here, and I'll go ahead and label those. I want to just kind of walk through it, and we'll think about it as we do it. So this is going to be my alpha motor neuron for the quads. And this is alpha motor neuron for the hamstrings. I'm pretty sure that's what I did before. Okay, and we can go ahead and label that up. So the alpha motor neuron for the quads is going to come out and innervate the quads. And the alpha motor neuron for the hamstrings is going to come out the ventral root and innervate the hamstrings. Now, so very similar to what I've shown before. The only thing I don't have up there right now is the stimulate or inhibit, so a plus or minus sign. So if you step on a tack, what are you going to do? You're going to extend, or you're going to pick up your leg, you're going to flex your leg, right? So that means which muscle is being stimulated? What muscle do you use to bend your knee up? Hamstring. Yeah, knee flexion. Knee flexion. You're going to flex away. Okay, so I'm going to stimulate my hamstrings, and if I stimulate my hamstrings, I've got to relax my quads. So the hamstring is going to be stimulatory, so that means that over here, the alpha motor neuron for the hamstrings is hooked up with a stimulatory interneuron, and the alpha motor neuron for the quads is hooked up with an inhibitory interneuron. Does that make sense? Just trying to walk through it. Does that, see that? Yeah? You got it? Yes? Anybody having trouble with that one? That makes sense, right? If I step on something, the first thing I want to do is withdraw. It's a flexion-withdrawal response. The thing that's going to cause the flexion, really you have some hip flexion there too. So you're going to have hip and knee flexion happening. Okay, and that's all, that's through a nociceptor. That's a pain receptor, and that's exactly what you want to happen. Because if it took all the way to get up to the brain to make the conscious decision, ow, that really hurt, I should move, you might have really hurt yourself. Right? So it's a very quick pain response. Questions? Is that good? Good? Yes? Okay. All right. Now, let's think about, there's also something called a cross-extension response. Okay? And what happens coming off of that nociceptor, it also crosses over to the other side and bifurcates again. So what happens here is, again, you have your interneurons. One's going to be stimulatory, the other's going to be inhibitory. Okay, and if you can imagine, I don't have it pictured here as a leg, but this is going to come out and innervate the opposite side. So let's make this, let's stay consistent, and then this say, this is the alpha motor neuron for quads, and then this one's going to be alpha motor neuron for hamstrings. Okay, I'll say, let's make, right, yeah. So this is the right leg. Okay, and these guys are going to the left leg. No, sorry, it's pretty bad. Oh my. But can everybody see what I'm trying to show here? So we're just going to the opposite leg. So this is the right side of the spinal cord. So motor's going to be ipsilateral there. So you're coming here, and this information is innervating this leg. But what happens is this nociceptor coming in actually crosses over to the other side and hooks up with some inhibitory and stimulatory interneurons that innervate the quads and the hamstrings on the opposite side. Right? So if my right leg is picking up, what do I want my left leg to do? Extend. Exactly. So that means that the inhibitory interneuron is going to be, so I want my quads to be stimulatory. So this interneuron is going to be stimulatory. And then this interneuron is going to be inhibitory, because if my quads are firing, I want my hamstrings to relax. And this over here, so this is a flexion withdrawal reflex. And then this is the, this is called the cross extension. That's your cross extension reflex. I was just being so happy how the technology was behaving itself, and I'm able to record everything this year. There's another dot cam in the second year classroom. Would it be okay if I just ran and got that? Because I can't deal with this. I'm sorry.